Hi, I'm Roger Jenkins and I'm a Singaporean storyteller. Yeah, I know, I am Singaporean. Born there to British parents, grew up in UK and then moved to Singapore to work some 40 years ago and have been there ever since. I discovered storytelling in '98 and became a professional storyteller about 5 years later. And the story that I'd like to share with you today begins on the seventh day. God had just finished creating the world when he realized that he'd made a terrible mistake. He'd forgotten to give the people brains. And because the people had no brains, they were arguing about all sorts of crazy things, about whether this island in the middle of the ocean belonged to this country or that country, or whether they should put a wall to stop people from this country coming into that country, or whether people in this country should get out of the European Union. These sort of silly things that people argue about. And God was unhappy. So he called his right-hand man, the Archangel Gabriel, and he gave him a big bucket full of grey matter and said, "Gabriel, take this down to earth and give it to the people." And Gabriel said, "What's that?" And God said, "This is brains." So Gabriel took the bucket and he went down, but you know, there were so many people and he only had the one bucket. He tried giving a little brain to each person, but God soon realized that a man with half a brain is not much better than a man with no brain at all. So he called Gabriel back and said, "You know, this really isn't working. We'll have to try something else." "I know," he said. "Let's just give the brains to some people, to some special people, and then they can share the wisdom with everyone and tell people what they should do." And Gabriel said, "Really? Do you think that's going to work? I don't think people like being told what to do. They won't listen." "Oh, don't worry," said God. "These special people will have a way of making the people listen." "Oh, all right," said Gabriel. "So, what are you going to call these special people? Surely they deserve a special name." And God said, "You know, you're right. It's a very big responsibility, isn't it? To have all the wisdom of the world and to have to hand that on from generation to generation. It's a very special job and a big responsibility. We'll call them storytellers." Thank you very much. I'm Roger Jenkins, and it's been a pleasure to be your storyteller.